All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our weekly Team Zoom, the time that we come together for 30 minutes each week to touch base, to learn, to grow, and just to have that fellowship time. I am excited for having like I told you guys last week, my sister from another mister, this Audree Bobiner. She has been here basically the same amount of time that I have, and we have struggled. We have had a lot of wins. We have grown tremendously. We are not the same people we were 8 years ago. And I could not be more excited to be partnered with her and her partnering with our agency to be one of our SMEs. So she is going to walk you guys through the FIF reset process and all that that entails. So take notes, take copious notes, guys, and let's get some appointments scheduled. Let's take advantage also of the free leads that are being given away from all the resets that come through. We got one person getting one lead already from a DFL policy that we're writing on Thursday at $864 monthly premium on that. So pretty excited about
Wow.
that one. And from that, we
Nice.
also got a $80,000 rollover. So pretty excited.
There you go.
Hey, this was from a no, right? This was from someone that said, "Hey, I'm already taken care of." We explored the
Hmm.
IUL that he was paying for. He was pretty upset. It expires, or it'll lapse essentially. It will implode on itself in 17 years with zero cash value. And this guy is paying
Wow.
$293 a month into it for a $500,000 IUL at 42 years old. So,
That's crazy. Yeah. It just shows that that person who got them set up with that originally didn't do the right thing at all.
exactly.
So yeah, it's crucial that, as you're learning this process, or if you do want to become a subject matter expert, that you actually learn to do things properly, that you don't just go rogue and start doing things all by yourself, without any training or mentorship or guidance. Oh gosh, now I'm like huge. All right, there we go. Okay.
Do you prefer the gallery or do you prefer
I
to?
like the gallery. That way I'm
Okay.
not like just seeing my big face. I mean, you can pin the video. That's totally fine. I changed it for myself.
All right, there.
Uh, but yeah, so good morning to everybody. I think most everybody that's on today was on last week. So again, I'm Audrey Bobinger. Like Michael Vigil said, I've been with Symmetry for almost 8 years now, which is crazy. Yeah, I've been a subject matter expert probably since about 2019. I just really found a passion for the advanced markets, whether that's IULs, DFLs, annuities, now even taking it so far as to get my Series 65 license. So now I'm also a fiduciary and financial advisor with our partner company, our kind of brother from another mother company, Quility Financial Advisors. Um, did everybody here know that we had a financial advising firm? Raise your hand if you didn't know that.
Or let's put a one in the chat. That way we can get
Yeah,
some
there
engagement.
we go. Perfect. Yeah, put a one in the chat if you didn't know that we had a full registered investment advisory firm, also part of Symmetry.
And Audrey, just so you know,
Yeah.
after our conversation last week, I decided to explore what it would take for me to get my licenses back, right? And
Hmm.
65 is perfectly fine. So you don't, I actually don't have to study for it. I
Nice.
learned that I could just sit for the exam. So
Yeah.
I took a practice exam to see where I stood. I need a 93 to pass out of the 130 questions. I got a
Yeah.
97 on the practice exam. So I think I'm going to sit
There
for it
you
at the end of June. Yeah.
go. Okay. There you
Yeah.
go. Nice. That's awesome. Well, I know that you were with Northwestern Mutual for forever. I know you had all those licenses in the past. I know you've been there, done that.
Yeah.
It is a whole different beast. It's a whole other animal. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, it just was a matter of I wanted to be that one-stop shop. Like I wanted to be that resource, that hub of the wheel for my clients. I wanted to build relationships with people. To be honest, after 8 years, I just have gotten so burnt out on the transactional nature of just life insurance sales. So that's really, I was like, I mean, I've quit 1,000 times, right? I've walked away, but I would never actually quit, right? But I had to find a different way to go about this business. And that for me was advanced markets. So yeah, the goal today is just to kind of make sure you guys are aware of what the resources are, where to find them, how to execute with them, how to implement them into your businesses starting right now, today, this very moment. So yeah, I'll kind of kick it off with that. I'm gonna share my screen. Oh, you gotta give me screen share, Michael.
You got it.
Um, so last week I briefly mentioned or talked about recommending that you all go into the LMS and complete the F all things resets. Put a one in the chat if you did do that. And if you didn't do that, that's okay. I know I'm not your mentor. It's not a requirement, but if you did do it, put a one in the chat. I'm just curious.
Nice.
Hey, Brenda, Harry, good job. Okay. Harry, Chris, good job. Harry, I'd be interested to know what you learned from that All Things Resets. What's something that kind of stood out to you, or what did you learn from that course?
Well, with me, I had like a bunch of questions, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know who's if there's an age limit or X, Y, and Z." And going through
Mhm.
that kind of kind of give you the tools like the spidey senses and all that little thing, to look to see if they're paying extra on their mortgage or if they have a
Yep.
saving, contributing more to their 401ks than the
Yep.
401 matching them, the whole thing. And it was really eye opening.
Good. Okay. So what's one thing that you took from that course that you feel that you could implement into your business, like the next phone call you have with a client? What's something super simple?
Honestly, just a simple question is as much as are you paying extra on your mortgage?
Yeah.
How
Easy.
would you,
Done.
just searching for that little bit of extra money here and there, and it may
Yep.
qualify. It may not be like debt free life, but it may be like if they have a big savings, infinite banking, or any of that.
I
It was really
will. Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it is just as simple as asking one or two additional questions, to kind of open up the door because people love to talk about themselves. Like once you kind of lower their guard, right, and you like expose that little shell, right? They love talking about themselves, right? They love to um either tell you how great they're doing or if they're doing really bad, they'll be like, yeah, I'm doing really bad. I need help. If you're coming off as, trustworthy and approachable and knowledgeable, people love to share their stories. So yeah, Harry, that's great. I appreciate that. Yeah.
also like it's like the easiest in is like if you're talking to them and they're like, well, I have a 30-year term. That opens the door up to everything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and you can be like, oh, we might be able to get you here if you qualify. And I was just like, wow.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the biggest thing, guys, is like I don't I want you all to realize that just because somebody has something in place right now, that shouldn't be a deterrent. That should be like a springboard, right? Like you said, Harry, it opens up the doors to just have more conversations, right? To have more quality conversations. Because if you say, okay, well, when you got that initial term in place, like what was the purpose of that? Like what were you looking to protect? Was it your mortgage? Was it your retirement? Was it your legacy? What was that for, right? And then also like if they are young enough or healthy enough to qualify for a whole life program, I always say it's important to get it now with whatever state you're in now, because later in the future, when that term expires, who knows what your life could look like at that point? You probably may not even qualify due to your health or your age or your whatever, right? Finances. So why not look at that now to see if that's a viable option, to protect you for the future when that term does go away, if you've outlived it, right? Because most people, you know, likely that they would outlive it, right? If they're living a regular, normal, healthy life, unless accidents happen, right? So we protect for that too. But yeah, Harry, great point. It's a great conversation starter, and then they talk, okay, well, what else do you have, right? You have this 30-year term. What else do you have as an asset that could pass to your loved ones in the event that you pass away? Yeah, Harry, go ahead.
One more thing too is I saw where it's like most of the 401ks only pay you 40% of what your monthly income currently is. That's a
Hmm.
big kicker right there. It's like, are you able to live off that 40% versus, that's a huge loss. And that was really big.
Right, right. Well, because the problem with 401ks, and this is a whole separate topic, I could talk all day on it, but the problem with 401ks is that people, well, a few things. One, either they're not contributing enough, right? Two, they're contributing too much. They're putting over the match, which is inefficient spending. Or three, they also just have zero idea of where their money is, who the manager is, where they're invested in the market, how many fees they're paying. Like generally, people that have 401ks through work have zero idea of what's going on with it. I'm like, so Harry, you're telling me that you're contributing to this 401k, but don't really have any idea of where the money is or who's managing it for you. Like you're trusting a complete stranger to manage your entire life savings and like betting or hoping that maybe you'll have enough money in retirement. Do you see a problem with that? And generally they're like, oh, yeah, that is kind of a problem. I never thought about it that way. I'm like, okay, well, then you know what? Maybe we should just have that conversation. And that's the thing, guys. None of you have to have that conversation. So I think that's the whole point that we're going to go back to. Like, Harry, I love that you're interested. You should absolutely ask those questions, but just don't feel like you have to know the answers of how to come back from those rebuttals, right? Your job at that point, if they say, yes, I've got a 401k, I'm over contributing, or yes, I'm over contributing to my mortgage, that's great. All you have to do is take notes and then just say, you know what, Justine, I have an entire team of subject matter experts that could help dive into this a little bit more for you. I'm not quite there yet, but I do have a team that can support me and support you in this. Let me just see if I can get you on their calendar this week. And that's it. That's the whole purpose of the FIF reset. Like as a brand new agent, you don't have to be that subject matter expert. You don't have to know exactly how to respond to those yes or no questions. You don't have to know the ins and outs of what a 401k is, right? Like you just simply have to open the door and then refer it to the subject matter expert, which is me or Michael, right? And then let us handle the rest. Unless eventually you want to become that subject matter expert when it comes to the annuities, the DFL, or the IULs, that's fine too, by all means. But until then, your goal and your job is just simply refer that person over. You can join the calls like Brenda, perfect example. She just did an FAF reset for me or with me the other day. She sat on the call. She was there to make the warm handoff. I mean, Brenda, feel free to chime in on like what that experience was for you, right? Just at least sitting and listening to the presentation. How'd that go?
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of exactly what Harry touched on. I have my little cheat sheet note of if they had this, then it's a potential. And she kind of had all of this. And so
Hmm.
that's kind of what led me to message Audrey and be like, hey, like, I think I maybe have someone to talk to and then put her on the calendar. And then just to confirm, because, we did the small steps on my side based off of, my checklist. And so I was like, well, now I want to listen in on your conversation with her to just learn about like what those next steps look like. And I was probably writing just as much notes as the client was because I was still trying to learn and like understand, not so much to explain it, but just like later to client, but more so just from my understanding to help me understand and again like find the triggers on other
Hmm.
clients also. So yeah,
Right.
it was really insightful just to kind of be a fly on the wall.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, good. I appreciate the feedback. And I want this to be feedback. Like, let's have some interaction here. I don't want to just be chatting at you guys all day. So I appreciate your guys' comments. Thank you. Okay. So for those of you that didn't do the all things resets, and again, Chuck, thank you for doing the all things resets. Was there anything else that stood out to you that hasn't already been mentioned, Chuck, just from the
I
training or what you've learned so far?
I actually didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, no worries. All good. Well, I would encourage you to do it after this phone call. So let me go into here. So everyone obviously has seen HQ, everyone has access to HQ. To do the course, it's under Quility University. Click the LMS, launch the LMS, and then it should be right on the home screen if it pulls up here. There we go. It's called All Things Resets. Yeah, just go to the training center. All Things Resets. Where did it go? Oh, reset certification right here. All Things Resets. Okay, so go ahead and do that there. Um, and that's for you as the new agent, how to understand the process of doing the FAF reset. Okay. However, there's also tons of other resources here too. So under sales tools, it has its own tab, right? FIFs and resets. So if you click on the reset homepage, this will take you to a ton of documents. But then there's also the FAF reset process for the referring agent. This is where I would start. Okay. So you click view now. Here's the entire detailed process on exactly how to fill out the FIF, what questions to ask, at the end of your appointment, stop your screen share, how to implement it when you're doing it with the client. Now, if you're doing this on Zoom, the recommendation is that you have this pulled up, right? That way the client can see and validate like why you're asking these questions. You're filling it in as you go. And this is during the appointment, right? Some agents will say that they do this on the first phone call. I personally do not do that. I ask enough basic information on the phone script, right? To, understand a little bit more of their whole financial picture. but I'm generally going to go do the full FIF reset in the first appointment on Zoom, right? But this is a great resource just for you to understand when and how to ask those questions. Okay. But let's go back to the home page. So again, what is a reset? Why resets? Expanding client solutions, right? Providing more value to the client. I talked about this a little bit last Tuesday about how we are generally the only financial person most of these people will ever talk to besides their loan officer. And right, they know nothing about anything else, right? You get to earn passive income, right? It's a 60-40 split on any insurance products. Now, again, if you do a FIF reset and an insurance product doesn't make sense, then that's where, I step in and may take that client under advisory. And unfortunately, if you don't have your Series 65, there's no commission split, there's no money involved to you. Unfortunately, it has to do with regulation, SEC, state verification, all the things, right? So again, that would just be a warm handoff. But again, my goal is if it makes sense for the client, I'm going to absolutely write the insurance product first, right? So I just want to set that precedent. If it makes sense legally, as a fiduciary for the client, I have to do what's in their best interest. If it's in their best interest to do an annuity, I'm 100% going to do an annuity. If it's in their best interest to do a DFL or an IUL or any other insurance product, I'm likely going to kick it back to you to do the simple things, and then I'll kind of help you and guide you in those advanced markets. Okay, so just want to set that disclosure. All right. It does increase your retention, right? The more policies you write in the house, stick your business. They're not going to cancel because now we've created a relationship with them. It's not just transactional. Now I'm asking deep questions about their loved ones, their grandkids, their kids, their homes, their vacation plans, how much money they want in retirement, all these things. So we're not just selling them a product, right? We're providing value in a relationship. Okay. And then, yeah, you get to earn as you learn, right? If you do want to be a subject matter expert, generally they say in order for you to become a standalone SME, you need to do at least 10 to 15 ride-alongs. Okay. Because this is a very complex process, guys. I can't understate how complex this is. I think as a whole, Symmetry is kind of understating it and very downplaying, even when it comes to recommending annuities, guys. So much goes into this. It's not just as simple as yep, term, final expense, done. No, that is not this process. Okay. So that's why they want you to do ride-alongs and earn as you learn with a subject matter expert before handing off the reins and saying, okay, Brenda, you've done 5 resets. Now you're a subject matter expert. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. Um, but you can become one if that's the road that you want to go down. Okay. There's a little video on how resets work. There's the national call talking about it. If you want to take the next steps, do the all things resets call. But then also, guys, look, new agent reset guide, AO and above, right? Michael, you obviously understand this process. Reset guide for me as a subject matter expert. And then there's all these other PDFs, right? Guide to the FIF form, reset data, second and third layer questions. And again, guys, so this is one that I love. Not that you have to understand or do all of these, but just for your own knowledge, right? Like Brenda was saying, just to understand the process behind the scenes of okay, well, what should I be asking or what could I ask just to make sure that I'm sending over a good FAF reset? I want to be clear, an FAF reset is not a Hail Mary. Okay. I had an agent a couple of times that would just shoot over an FAF reset because they couldn't understand how to help the client because they could barely rub 2 pennies together. And I'm like, okay, that's not an FAF reset. If you need my help to strategize or come up with some options for that client because maybe it's a little bit more difficult due to their health, that's one thing. It's not they can barely afford a $10.58 accidental death policy. Throw it as an FAF reset. No. Right? Brenda, share with me what's on your sticky note. What, for all of you, and I hope you're taking notes, what makes a good FIF reset? I want to talk about that really quickly.
So, and we can always add to this, but the ones that I have is if there's at least a 200,000 plus household income, an old 401k or old RIA, movable pensions, if they're a business owner, if they have multiple properties, if they're overpaying on anything over $400, or if they have more than a $250,000 mortgage.
Okay. Yeah. Great points. Yep. Those are good starting points, right? Again, just to simplify that even further, right? If they're making any overpayments on their debt, right? Any overpayments, right? Generally, I think you said 400 would be awesome, but we could still even explore it around 250 to 300 depending on their age. If they're older, like I would say 55 or older, yeah, that $400 threshold would have to be like higher, right? Because the cost of insurance for like an IUL or DFL is going to be more expensive, right? So they need a little bit more wiggle room. If they're younger and they're overpaying on their credit cards or their mortgage or anything around 250 to $300 a month, could be a good potential, right? You don't necessarily have to discover that, but that's a good, you know, punt it to me to kind of do that discovery. Um, so if they're making overpayments on their debt, if they have some retirement, or if they have no retirement, right? Um, that could be a good potential reset. Okay. But I like your details, right? Like, old 401ks, old IRAs, movable pensions. If they have a high net worth or, high annual income, that could be a good potential person just to kind of talk to, right? Um, but then anyway, but then um, these are some of the second and third layer questions that you could ask just to kind of discover what is important to them, right? Um, to eliminate no sales, earn passive income, is there a reason that you opted for a 15-year mortgage over a 30-year mortgage? Is paying off your mortgage a priority for you, right? That means that client is probably making additional payments toward their mortgage, right? Like if they're overpaying their mortgage, like Brenda's client, she's making an additional $300 a month contribution to her mortgage. That's a ding, 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 red flag. Like, hello, let's talk about that. Okay. In her case, she's she has a 3% interest rate. There's no reason why she needs to be making additional payments to her mortgage. We could redirect that money, put it into a vehicle that's going to actually double her interest, like get her, somewhere between 6 to 7 to 8% interest return on that $300. That's more efficient than putting it toward her 3% mortgage. Okay, so we're working to do something with that, right? Um, yeah, if the client says the purpose of the insurance that they already have in place is for cash value accumulation or retirement, right? So if they have an idea because they want to contribute more to retirement, ding, 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 red flag. Okay, cool. They want to build their retirement. They have some retirement, maybe not enough. Let's discover that. Let's talk about that. Let's go in a little bit more depth on why that's important to them, right? So here again, here's some additional questions, right? Are you getting a match on your 401k? Have you ever lost money in your account? One of my favorite questions, and I want you all to write this down, is a portion of your retirement savings, protected from stock market losses? Okay. Is a portion of your retirement savings protected from stock market losses? That's one of the best leading questions ever, because most often the answer is no. Why is that a problem? Can anyone tell me why that would be a problem? If a client has all of their money directly invested in the stock market and they're within their retirement time horizon, why is that a problem? Anybody?
Because when it goes down, you lose that money. It
Right.
will lose all of your savings.
Right. There's the potential to lose everything. And what is the problem with that? If they lose everything and they're within their 10-year window of retirement.
The chances
Harry,
of it back.
Yeah. Say that again, Brenda.
I'll say the chances of it gaining back to whatever it was would probably be a lot longer than what it took to lose it.
Correct. Yep. That's the problem, right? One, if they lose half their savings, now they're down in the red. So not only do they have to have time to get back up to zero, but then that time opportunity loss, right? That opportunity loss of growing back up farther ahead of where they were before, right? So that's why it's crucial. Like if you ask your client, hey, Chuck, out of your retirement savings, do you have a portion of that protected from stock market losses? If the answer is no, immediately send it my way. Let's have a conversation about it because the client needs some sort of protection. They cannot be directly invested in the stock market for within a 10-year window of when they plan to retire. 100% of their retirement assets, that's not doing them a good service, right? So there are ways that we can at least take maybe a portion of it, maybe not all of it, because if they still have like an aggressive outlook on investing, great. We can still keep some of that in the market. No problem. I can help out with that. But in order to save and protect at least a portion of it to have as like a windfall, that's really important. That's where an annuity comes in to guarantee a pension, guarantee that they don't lose anything, and to make sure that if shit hit the fan, they wouldn't lose everything, like Harry said, right? Super crucial. Okay. So, a couple more questions. Guys, just read over this for your own knowledge. Do not feel like you have to go into depth and answer all the or ask all these questions. In fact, please don't, because I don't want you to like pigeonhole me into a corner that I can't back out of. Right? But just gather as much information as the client will give you, because then that helps me, right? Have a good idea, a foundation of where to start with the client. But like Brenda did the other day, she asked a few basic questions. She asked about the mortgage. She discovered that she was making overpayments. But I mean, Brenda, how long did we just talk about her circumstances, and how many more questions did I ask? And did I even recommend anything in our first appointment? No.
Nope. I think we kind of more just recapped on what client had told me during our appointment when I felt
Mhm.
that mortgage protection really wasn't a good fit for her
Right.
anyway. And so
Right.
then I think we just kind of more, yeah, talked about her situation, what her goal ultimately was, what she had in
Right.
place. And you just asked all those, subject matter expert detailed questions that
Right.
kind of just dug into her current situation.
Yeah, exactly. So again, in the first meeting, it's a discovery. It's simply me figuring out what are their pain points, right? Like I always say, if you could wave a magic wand and all of your problems would be solved tomorrow in fairyland, like what would that look like to you? And guys, that's a question you can ask anytime, anywhere, for any client, right? Because once you understand what their pain points are and what's concerning them and why they even took the time to have this appointment with you, I mean, that unlocks all the doors, right? Because then they understand and know that you're coming from a place of like genuine, I give a crap, not just like I'm here to push a product or push a certain thing onto you. Like that's not where we want to come from. That's disingenuous, and people read that right off the bat. So, like Brenda said, and this is a crucial point I want to make, you are actually more empowered when you don't offer a product in the first appointment, right? Because if you ask quality questions and then you uncover that they have a lot more issues or a lot more pain points or problems, and that mortgage protection may or may not be the best fit for you or for that client, by not recommending something, by saying, hey, you know what, Chuck, you know what, Kenneth, I know that you asked me here today to talk to you about mortgage protection insurance. I just, as the financial professional, am not confident that maybe that's the 100% best option for you. It's still on the table. And if it is still really important to you and we can find a solution that fits within your budget, I'm absolutely happy to help you get that program in place. But you know what? I do have an entire team of subject matter experts, or rather, I do have a subject matter expert on my team. Her name is Audree. Her name is Mike, or his name is Michael. Like they can help you really discover or uncover maybe a few additional resources that we could provide to you before I make this suggestion of mortgage protection. Let me just get you on their calendar this week, because then that way I know for sure and certain that I'm providing you with the best value before I recommend a product, right? Okay. Somebody said this to me earlier. It was uh diagnosis before prognosis is malpractice. And I loved that, right? For any of you doctor or medical people, right? Diagnosis, giving a diagnosis before you understand the problem or the prognosis is malpractice. You can't do that, guys, in any situation. You are a licensed professional, right? Everybody here took the exam, passed the exam, has a life and health license, right? Yes? Okay. That makes you a qualified financial professional. You're not a financial advisor, so you can't call yourself that. I just say, I'm a holistic financial professional, or I'm an insurance professional, right? That gives you power. So step into that and understand that you have to ask all of these financial questions. Everyone here seems to be more, I'm not saying this group, like in general, symmetry, right? For some reason, we feel more confident asking the health questions than we do asking about people's money situation. We got to flip that script, guys. In your mind, you got to flip that. Is anybody here a doctor, nurse, pharmacist? Anybody? No? No one's raising it? Okay, perfect. So then you should feel more confident asking people about their money situation than their health situation. Okay. So sorry, I got off my little soapbox. Any questions or comments so far? I know we've run over a little bit of time, but this is really important. So I'm here until you guys don't want me. Justine, yes, go ahead. Feel free to unmute.
So I have a couple of clients who I feel like, do we ask the same questions on an FIF reset as we would for a DFL?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Well, so DFL could be an FIF reset. So let me clarify. The FIF is just, it stands for Financial Information Form. That's what I mean. It's a financial information form. Okay. All you're doing is, yeah, you're asking any and all questions that could relate to a DFL. That's considered an advanced market solution. So IULs, DFLs, infinite banking concept, or annuities. Okay. So all those things is part of the FIF reset. A reset is just simply referring it to a subject matter expert. So yeah, don't get confused. FIF is not a product solution. It's just a form for you to fill out all the information, submit it to the subject matter expert, and then that way I get a copy of it, and then I can call you and email you and get all the details and more notes if we have to.
Another quick question. I
Yes.
was talking to a potential client who wants to do a kid policy, but then ended up finding out that her husband has multiple 401ks.
Oh, perfect.
Would that
Absolutely.
be
Send it over to me. 100%. Send it over. Absolutely.
perfect?
Because
Okay.
then I can help them. There's actually a brand new website I just sent out to my other team. Michael, I'll send it to you too, buddy. To help people figure out and discover where all their 401ks are, because if they're from old employers, like you can't move it until you have a new place to put it. And you can't roll them into each new employer. You have to have like an aggregate account. So that could be a potential for an annuity. Who knows, right? But that's absolutely something that I can help them with. 100%.
Cool.
Yep. Great. Thanks for the questions, Justine. Okay. So I'm going to share this with you all. I'll put it in the chat. So this is my role and purpose statement. Okay. So this is something that you should be starting every single appointment with, is your role and purpose for that appointment, right? This is something that we learned from Ayers and Cicely Newsome way back when, like 2018, or maybe. We had a really great SoundCloud before Zoom was a thing, and we did all of our calls on phones. And anyway, long story short, I just tell them exactly who I am, what we're going to accomplish today, what questions we're going to ask, because confused minds don't buy. And I always say clear is kind, right? Like I call my agency the kind agency, right? So if you educate the client on what exactly is going to happen within that appointment, they know what to expect, and you'll have less objections and less knee-jerk reactions. Okay. So this is my FIF reset. Like I mean, mostly just highlight, in order for me to, determine what I can do for you, I'm going to review your health history, as well as take a closer look to see how you're set up financially. If God forbid you pass away sooner than you expected, to make sure your family's covered. I want to make sure I understand the full picture before making any sort of recommendation as to what you need or don't need, because legally I can't overinsure you, but ethically I don't want to underinsure you either. Okay. Super important. Whether you say it exactly like that or not, that's fine. But I just let them know, like, hey, I'm going to be digging into your financial situation right now, today. Okay. To see if there's any gaps in your current strategy. And then my goal is to help you fill those gaps. That's it. Because that is your goal. You fill the gaps in their current strategy. Okay. And then here's some probing questions to ask, right? Are you positive you're going to have a great retirement, or do you have some doubts? That's also a really good one that we learned way back when. Original Your Family Bank DFL question. Do you have a portion of your retirement protected from stock market losses, right? Do you have debt? Do you have some retirement or no retirement at all? Has your current advisor gone over exactly how much sustainable income you can expect to receive in retirement? Most of the time, the answer is going to be no. They've never done that. Okay. So anyway, just these are some additional questions. Again, good indicators that an annuity might be necessary. I did, include like where to find the FIF reset form, fill in all their mortgage information. This is just kind of like my little cheat sheet. But I'm going to go ahead and copy the link here. Copy this. I'll put it in the chat. Paste. So if you guys want to use that, by all means, please do. And then, yeah, let me go into the chat here. Okay, Spanish clients. Yes, we do have some Spanish speakers in the agency that can help. Yep, links. Okay, any other additional questions, guys? I know we've gone over a little bit of time here. Yep.
Audrey, will you just show them real
Yes.
quick on HQ how to find their client, do the FIF form directly from there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. Okay, so right here under FIF and resets, it says financial information form.
Hold on,
Use
share
this form to
screen.
submit a reset. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yep, I thought I was. My bad.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. So FIF and resets, right here at the top, it says financial information form. Scroll down, hit this form right here. So what you'll be doing is if your lead is in opt, okay, you can type in a lead. I use Leanna as an example. Okay. If you type in a lead, it will pull in their information. And then all of these will be blank. So like obviously filled this out as like a demo. Or if it's not in your opt, if it's a referral or just a client outside of like your family or friends or whatever, you'll just hit add new referral lead, type in their info, lead type. You can just say, whatever, like if it's mortgage protection, life, disability, whatever. And then you can do source of referral. It could be agent referral, client, or external. Okay. So basically all you're going to do is these forms are going to be empty. Right. So let me just pretend this is empty here. All of these things will just look green. Okay. And all you're going to do, guys, is just hit add a mortgage, fill in their mortgage information. If they're making an overpayment, click overpayment. Put in their estimated equity. How much equity do they have in their home? Okay. Monthly expenses. Okay, you can just ballpark this too, guys. You can say, all right, Chris, about how much does it take you per month to keep the lights on and food in the fridge and gas in the car? Estimate that. Okay, $3,000. Awesome. Okay, you can just lump it all together. I don't care. Do you have any additional expenses? Credit card debt, right? Any personal loans, student loans, all that stuff, right? How much does that cost you per month, roughly? Now again, Gloria, if you were to pass away tomorrow, not only do your liabilities pass to your loved ones, but so do your assets. So do you have any assets that would also pass to your loved ones? Any old 401ks, brokerage accounts, IRAs, any additional investment properties, right? Put those assets there, right? 401ks, annuities, CDs, investments, pensions, right? You can just click this drop down menu and ask, like, do you have any pensions, annuities, CDs, 403Bs? Whether you know what any of this stuff is, that guys, it doesn't matter. People know what they have and they don't have, right? So just fill in as much information as they'll give you. Okay. If they have any existing insurance, you can put that there. And then obviously you need to ask their income, must, right? Okay, Michael, so what is it you do for work? Okay, and how much would you estimate you make per year, right? Or per month after taxes? It's best to get the net number, right? Because taxes, that's not something we can control. So I want to know how much do they make after taxes, because that's what they get to budget with. Okay. And then if they're on Social Security, right? If they have a pension, if they have any other additional income, right? If they're veterans, they have disability income, right? Make sure you include that, please. And then at the end of it, what you'll do is you'll hit easy reset. Or actually, so excuse me. Once you fill in this information, you'll hit process results. And then what's going to happen is the system will say, okay, based on this information, we think this could be a good DFL candidate. Okay, so it's going to pop up with these questions. Now you say, hey, Chuck, do you feel like your debt is preventing you from contributing more to your retirement? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So I think so too. The cool thing is though, Chuck, is that we have entire divisions solely based on education around debt elimination and our debt-free life program. They are subject matter experts and they can give you education and you can do whatever you want with the information, but I know that you're going to be happy with what you hear. They've helped so many of our clients. So let me take a look at their calendar to see what time they have available to meet with you. That's it. That's all you have to do. Okay. And then look, my calendar's right here. Michael, I think you added me to their reset pool already.
Correct.
Okay. So then my calendar will be there for you guys to reset to me. Okay. So you find my calendar here. So you open up my calendar. Okay. You pick a day, you pick a time. Cool. Pick a time, 1:30, sick. All right. Put in their information. So put in the client's name, the client's email, you click add guest, put your email as the guest, okay, because I have automations that will send out to the client text message and email reminders, and the Zoom link will go straight to them. It'll also go straight to you if you add yourself as a guest, put in their phone number, click schedule event. That way it shows up on my calendar. Okay. What's super crucial though is that you have to go back and hit confirm. Please go hit confirm. If you don't hit confirm, then I don't get a copy of this information that you just filled out in the FIF. Okay. Must hit confirm. Because just because you scheduled on my calendar, that's an external link. That doesn't talk to this. So this is saying confirm that you have an appointment with Audree. You booked it on my calendar. Come back, hit confirm. And then that way I get a copy of the FIF in my email. And then I will reach out to you, Justine, and I'll say, hey, Justine, I just got your FIF. Tell me a little bit more about this client. You can also type in the notes, right? Like type in all the notes about like what the client does, if they have kids, like any additional information that you want, put it in the notes. I'll get a copy of that too. Okay. Um, or if all the information you put in here is just their mortgage and that they have a 401k and it doesn't recommend anything, you could also just hit easy reset, click annuity, IBC, DFL, QFA, whatever. Okay, because I'm also at QFA, right? Um, for all intensive purposes, though, let's just hit DFL, IUL, or annuity. Even if you don't know what's what, just click one of those things. My calendar will pop up on all three of them. And then I can determine, obviously, what the better option is for them. But either way, um, though it'll give you some prompting questions. There's my calendar. Boom. That's it. Okay. Super simple, guys. Does everyone understand this? Does this answer all your questions about the process? Any questions, comments,
I have one,
concerns?
Audrey.
Yes, Harry, go ahead.
What is the kind of like the cutoff as far as the age goes? And I know even if they're making all overpayments and this and this and that, I know the age does play a role.
Right. So if we're doing like life insurance things, I mean, obviously the age of uninsured is 85, right? But like even so, like for instance, I had a client, my biggest client on annuity so far, right? He was 86, but his wife was 76, or maybe no, he was 73, or no, 83, excuse me. Either way, if they have got money in annuities, if they've got money in IRAs, the age, I think the age limit that we can write annuities is like 90.
Okay.
So in all reality, there's really no cutoff, like depending on the situation. Okay. For annuities, it's much more lenient because it's not life insurance, right? So we have a lot more wiggle room. You know, for a good DFL or IUL client, I would say the cutoff is probably like 70, 75. Because with the DFL, we can write that program on like a healthier loved one, like a child or grandchild. So there's some wiggle room there. Um, but in all reality, there's really no cutoff, Harry, to
Okay.
give you the good, straight, easy answer. It's if they have assets, if they have money, there's workarounds. We can find a solution or product for them generally 99% of the time.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Great question. So I would love to, yeah, open it up to any more additional questions that you guys have. Questions, comments, concerns about the FIF, the process, the distinguishing factors, what makes a good FIF reset, what doesn't make a good FIF, anything else, guys.
Audrey, I have a question. You had
Yeah.
mentioned that there was a website that we as agents can go to help our 401k clients that don't know where their money's at.
Mm-hmm.
Can you link that?
I can. However, here's my caution. That's not something that I would say that I would want you to lead them into doing, right? It's a resource that they could definitely do on their own, but it is a complex process. So you can absolutely share that with your client, and I'm happy to share it. I just don't want you to pigeonhole yourself into something that you like they may have questions on, and then you can't answer, or you tell them something that's incorrect. On like what to do with it or how to move that money. So definitely still shoot it over to me. Like let me help them walk through that process. But yeah, I can absolutely send you the resource. I have to figure out where I saved it.
Right.
I think I
Because
emailed it.
I had a client in the past who I had posted something on my Facebook page saying, we do 401k rollovers and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I have an old 401k, but I don't know. I've left the company. It's been like 10 plus years. I have no idea how to get it or anything like
Find
that.
it. Yeah.
And I told him he just needed to reach out to the company's HR to
Yeah.
find out where to get it from. And then
Yeah.
I never heard back from the client. And so
Right. Gotcha. Well, and sometimes that is like obviously that's the good go-to, right? Like if you can talk to a human that was at the company in HR, like great. But if it was so long ago, then that HR department may have lost the data or they don't always have great records. So there it is. It's lostandfound.dol.gov. So it's through the Department of Labor. yeah, they have to like create an account and put in their social and like do all this verification stuff. But it is there. So you can shoot that over to him. Just say, hey, here's a resource. Maybe you could check out if you need additional help. I have a financial advisor on my team that can help actually guide you through this process of how to move that money. And then that could be a good potential reset. So yeah,
Okay.
by all means, go for
Cool.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, guys. Any other questions, comments, concerns? I know that was a lot of information in a short amount of time.
Thank you, Audrey. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, and I hope you guys
Yeah.
as agents feel a little bit more comfortable in the process. And just know, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that we all miss, right? So just
Yeah.
think about what she shared. Make sure you guys do your all things reset as well, because that will
Mhm.
help you identify those. And guys, I mean, anything extra is extra, right? So
Yeah.
like I tell people all the time, 100% of nothing is nothing, right? So, but
Yeah.
if when you're
100%
sharing
of
with someone,
something is better than 100% of nothing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what I tell my agents. It's like, and there's so many people we can help, right? Like there's so like something that Edward Pritchett, who was my idol, I love Edward Pritchett. Something that he said, it's like if you look at the numbers of our industry, like just the life insurance industry, right? Like term final expense, not even annuities. Okay. The life insurance industry alone is a trillion, the T dollar industry. We as Symmetry as a whole have not even scratched the surface of like 0.03% of that industry. Okay. So to think selfishly that you have to do all this yourself is insane. Okay. We're all on a team. We're all working toward the same goal. We all want financial freedom. We all want to be rich. We all want to be wealthy, right? With our time and our money. So the reason why I did any of this was to help everybody. Like I'm a one-man show, right? I can't do everything myself, but I want to be able to help all of you because again, 60% of something is better than 100% of nothing I couldn't do to help your clients, right? Like I am willing to take that split even though I have spent years developing my craft and getting all these additional credentials and studying and learning and reading books and all this stuff because I'm just passionate about helping people, teaching financial literacy, helping you to earn financial freedom, to help me earn financial freedom, right? We're all in business together. So just understand that what we are doing is just barely scratching the surface. There's so much pie out there to get. We just got to work hard to get after it, and do it collectively. We all need to be like rowing in the same direction, right? Paddling with the same rhythm and beat here. So yeah, lots to do, lots of people to help. So cool. Any
Thank
additional
you.
comments, questions, concerns? Brenda? Yes, ma'am.
No, I said just thank you. It's been, yeah, good knowledge stuff and whole thing of notes. So appreciate your time.
Of course. Anytime, guys. And then if you do have other questions, if you want to just schedule with Audree.com. Obviously, Michael is your go-to. He's obviously a wealth of knowledge and resources also. He's been in the financial industry longer than I have. But if you need to schedule with me directly for whatever reason, if the links aren't working in HQ or something goes wrong, just reach out to me directly. I'll put my phone number too in case you have like questions as to whether or not a client would be a good reset or not. I appreciate that as well before blocking off my calendar. Just shoot me a text. Let me know. Send me a
Audrey,
call.
do you mind
Yeah,
if I just add you to our team chat on the WhatsApp? That way they can just ask you questions as well.
that's totally fine too. I love
Okay.
WhatsApp. That's
All right.
totally fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Appreciate I'll get you added shortly and then I'll make an introduction if that way everyone knows where she's at as
Sure.
well.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. All right, guys. Any other last minute questions, comments, concerns? Anything that you want clarification on to take into your business today in your dial sessions today? Because that's the thing, guys. Like, you got to just get on it, stay on it, as Danny Young says. Do it immediately, right? Anything else I can help you guys with? Nothing?
We'll uh, we'll dive into this a little bit deeper next week as well, guys, because there are some other opportunities that we can help people with and
Yep,
give you guys some social media stuff that you can use as well because social media is a huge tool. Even if you guys
it
just work
is.
once a week on it, you'll get some low-hanging fruit that way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Brenda, great. Is a portion of your retirement savings protected from stock market losses? It's a great segue. It's a great question. I love that. Thanks, Brenda. Yeah,
Perfect.
and yeah, the power of social media is insane. I mean, I've gotten clients, I've gotten agents from ChatGPT recommended me to somebody. Now he's an agent on my team. That was crazy. Super cool. Just simply from my internet presence. I had a guy reach out to me in regards to some estate planning stuff that I do, simply from a Facebook search on trusts and wills. He found my post, reached out to me. Now we're going to collaborate on some things. He may become a client, a referral resource. Like, guys, don't be a secret agent. Like, who cares what anybody thinks? Who cares what your friends and family think? Like, you have a career that you love. Don't be a secret agent. Don't hide it. Be loud and proud. I know for me, it took me a little while too, because I was always concerned about what other people thought about me, and I was like, you know what? Too bad. I'm passionate. I care, so that's why I'm posting. But yeah, great tools out there.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you, Audrey. Appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for staying on. Thanks
Everyone
for
have
your
a
time.
great
See
day.
y'all later.
God bless.
Okay, bye.